Hi guys, I'm back. This video is going to be short and sweet, and it's going to be the books that we read in the month of November for homeschool. Some of these books I did read along with my son Matthew, and some of them I didn't. It's a very short pile here, so I'm just going to run through them really quickly for you and let you know whether or not Matthew liked them. The first book that he read for the month of November is Minecraft the Island. This is from Max Brooks. He is the author of the World War Z book, and it turned into a movie with Tom Cruise, which we really liked. He read this on his own, and he would come back and he read a chapter every day, and then he would come and give me a short summary of what he had read. One thing that I realized with this particular book, I had to break the chapters in half. So what we would do is we would count the pages in the chapter, split in half. He would read the first part of the chapter, come and let me know what he read, so that he could tell me whether or not he was comprehending, so I could get a better idea of whether or not he was comprehending of what he was reading. And then he would read the second half of the chapter. The chapters weren't very long, but he is only 8, so they were pretty. It was difficult for him to remember the entire chapter. Plus, and we learned that a couple of chapters in, because what would happen is he would read it, he would tell me, and then he would forget a lot of the details in the chapter. And I really wanted him to get into the habit of being able to retell the story retell the story throughout the chapters that he was reading, if that makes any sense. So splitting the chapter in half was a lot easier for him. Plus, it was a lot easier for me to understand what was going on throughout the book. But he really enjoyed this book. Matthew is very animated in his retelling of his stories, and I really love listening how he retells the stories. So that's why sometimes I don't read the book with him, because I like to get it from his point of view. And if it sounds very interesting to me, then I'll go back and read the book, the chapters after he's done with the book. I don't fully understand the whole Minecraft thing. I know it's really fun, and he really enjoys playing the game, and I think it's very good for kids to do, because it really teaches them how to build stuff and how to survive, like survival techniques. And I mean, he makes the most amazing creations on Minecraft, whether it's on the Wii U or he has a Minecraft account online as well. But overall, he really enjoyed this book, and I really loved listening to him retell the story. The next book that he read, and he really loves this author, and I'm not sure how to pronounce her name, but her name is Raina Telgemeier, and she is a graphic novelist. And he read The Babysitter's Club, Christie's Great Idea. And so from my understanding, I'm not really sure about these books, but from my understanding, these are retellings of novels of The Babysitter's Club, and but in graphic novel format. And so once again, he would read, and he would come back and tell me what the book is about. He really enjoys these books. He actually has 2 other books that he's reading for the month of December. But I always try to let him pick out books that he wants to read on his own, that he's really interested in reading. I don't want to pick the books for him too much. Some I do, but the majority right now, because this is our first year of homeschooling, and I really want him to love to read. And I find that if you let your children pick out the books that they want to read, then it makes it a little bit easier to have them read the books that you want them to read, that regarding history or science or anything like that. But he really loves this book, and not just the book, but he really loves this author, and he loves the graphic novel format. So I'm really excited to go to the library again today to pick out some more books for him. But we're very limited because this is a new book in the library. And so we're very limited on how long we can keep this book. So he was really excited to, and he can read this book in a day if I let him, but we have tons of books to read. The next book that he got, and he didn't really read it from front to cover, but it was the Pokemon Deluxe Essential Handbook. He's really into Pokemon now. And I'm thinking of getting him the updated version of this. We saw it at Sam's the other day, and he really, really wanted it because apparently there's Pokemons in there that are not in this book. But it gives you examples of the Pokemons, and it gives you a little summary of what they do and their height and their weights and whatnot. I've never gone into Pokemon. I don't really understand it. My oldest, who is 23 now, he was really into Pokemon when it first came out, but I don't understand it. This other book, my son Benjamin actually read it, so it's not part of the homeschool curriculum, but he is participating in Battle of the Books at his school this year again. I really love the choices of books that they pick for that. And I started to read this with him, but I have so much other reading to do that I wasn't able to complete it when he completed it. But this is a book that you will probably see again in our homeschool reading wrap up for the month of the. It probably won't be until like next year sometime that we read this book, but I found it very interesting. And this is from the author of Alan Gratz, which I'm assuming that's how you pronounce his name. And I really love this book because I'm a big believer in letting your children read what they are interested in. And obviously, if it's a little bit too mature for them, of course I wouldn't let them read it. But I don't believe in banning books because you have issues with them. I don't believe in I have a hard time with curriculums, and there are a couple of them out there who give you a list of books that you're not supposed to read or you shouldn't read, or they're on the ban list. That is one of my pet peeves. I can't comprehend that. Why would you put books on a ban list? I think it's up to the parents to determine that. It shouldn't be a curriculum choice. It shouldn't be dependent on the individuals or the group of people who write curriculum, and then especially when it comes to literature, and then they give you a list of all the things that you shouldn't be reading. I have a big problem with that. So I try to stay away from anything that has to do with that. And I thought what was very interesting about this book is at the back of the cover, it gives you all the list of books that that are on the banned list. And I really thought that, and I've heard there is a certain curriculum, and I think it's a certain one, but I'm not going to mention it because I'm not sure. But I thought it was funny on here. It has all the Captain Underpants books, which my kids love, all the Junie B. Jones books, which my kids loved, and a book, Matilda, which I'm not understanding why that's even on the ban list, and then all the Goosebump books, which my oldest son used to be into back in the day. Oh, and then the other one is Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, which is a Judy Blume book, which I don't even understand why that book's even on the ban list. But to go along with this book, my son Benjamin has to do a book report, and the main book that got banned in the main character's why she was fighting against banned books was because her favorite book was banned, which is From the Mixed Up Files of Miss Basil E. Frankweiler. And this book is by, I'm not going to pronounce this individual author's name because I'm going to butcher it. But this book is a primary book that was banned that started off with the main character trying to get her book back into the library. And so he's reading this book. I've never read this book before. He is currently reading it with a audiobook, which I really enjoy listening to along with him. He's a little bit ahead of me in this book, but like I said, I have tons of other books that I'm reading right now. But this one is actually on YouTube, so I will leave a link down below if you want to listen to that. But it's very, very interesting, and from my understanding is the main character in this book runs away and goes to live in a museum, and that's as far as I've gotten in the book. But he's writing a book report on this, and I'm thinking of adding this to Matthew's reading list for this year as well, to go along with this book. The next book that Matthew and I read for homeschool was The Miraculous Journey of Edward Tulane. We just finished this book this morning, and I've never read this book before. He really loves Kate DiCamillo books, and we read 2 of her books last month, and so he really enjoyed this book. He was the smile on his face on the last chapter, and how the ending, how it all circled around back. And if you haven't read this book, so I'm not going to try to explain it too much, but the main character obviously is Edward Tulane, and he is a China doll, but he is a rabbit, and he gets separated from his owner at the beginning of the book, and it talks about he goes through different owners throughout the story, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful book. And the one thing that I really liked about this book, it had some gorgeous illustrations. I took some pictures of it, which I'll probably slide into the video here. And I just thought Matthew also loved the illustrations in this book. This is a really good book. But yeah, really love this book. And I'm thinking about buying all of her books after we read them, maybe in a box set or something, just so that we can have around, so we can reread them. But the smile on his face at the end of this book, it was just priceless. Definitely a great Christmas present if you're going to give this book to anyone, to a little child, or just to read, or to have to own for yourself. I'm not really sure what I'm saying, but I'm definitely going to buy this book. I hope that the book that I get, I'm hoping to find this exact same book, because like I said, the illustrations are gorgeous. And also with this book, we found, because I'm always trying to find things for free online, and with the books that we read, like comprehension questions, and I was able to find this one, and it doesn't have who wrote it, all the comprehension questions, but I will try to find that for you if you want to read the book and then have comprehension questions to go along with each of the chapters. But Matthew did this, and he really enjoyed doing it. And plus it gives me a great, because the chapters are really short, so I was trying to figure out how I was going to have him explain to me what, if he was understanding what was being read. And so I was able to find these, and there's roughly around 3 to 4, sometimes 5 questions per chapter, and it was great for me to see him telling me, answering questions, so I could see whether or not he was comprehending what he was reading. Because like I said, the chapters are really short, and so it's kind of hard for me to come up with questions to ask him. So I was really glad that I was able to find this online. Now the last book that I have for you is actually a book that I'm reading. It's taken me a little bit longer to read this book, so I was able to find an audiobook online, which I will leave a link down below, but it is The Girl Who Drank the Moon. I am loving this story. I'm just having a hard time making the time to be able to read this book, so the audiobook is really helping me to be able to do other things and listen to it as well. Plus I can always rewind it in case I miss something. And this book is by Kelly Barnhill. I'm really enjoying this book. It sounds some of it sounds a little bit too similar to other characters that I have read in other books, but I think because I'm listening to it in audiobook, I'm really loving the narrator, and I don't know who that person is, but I love, and I wish I would have written it down, but I will leave a link down below of the narrator, because she has done tons of books, and I really love her voice. I love how she, her inflections throughout the story, but definitely is making the book a lot more enjoyable. I don't think that I would have been able to read this on my own without, not that it's boring, it's just, it sounds a little bit too similar to other stories that I have read in the past, so it's kind of giving me like, oh, I've already read this before. But like I said, listening to an audiobook, it has helped me out a lot. So I'm sorry that it sounds like I'm trying to rush, but I have to go to the library pretty soon. But yeah, those are the books that we had read for the month of November. I apologize, it's been a little late in the beginning of December for me to do this video, but I do plan on doing shorter videos instead of waiting for the end of the month to do my reading wrap up for homeschool. I think I'm going to do it whenever we finish books, because I think it'll give me more time to explain the books, and I don't feel like I'm having to sit on books because I'm waiting for all the books to be read to be able to do it at the end of the month, and then I tend to forget, and then like now I'm kind of rushing through it because I have to go return these books back today. But this one, I'm still, even though I have to return this book, I'm still listening to it on audio, excuse me, which really helps me out a lot. And but yeah, if you've been wanting to read this book, or even of the other books that I mentioned, which is this one, the Edward Tulane book, is also on audio on YouTube. From the Mixed Up Files is also an audiobook on YouTube, and I think that's it. Yeah, so I'm going to leave a link to all those audiobooks down below so that you can listen to this if you don't have access to the books, but definitely recommend listening to audiobooks if you don't have time to read. But yeah, I think that's it for now. I hope you enjoyed this video. I do apologize that it took me a long time to do the video, because I should have done it on November 30th, but I kind of forgot. What else? I think that's it. I think. Okay. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe to my channel, like this video, and if you want to be notified of any videos that I upload on YouTube, please click that little bell down below, and I would really appreciate it. So you guys have a wonderful day. God bless, and I will see you next time. Bye.